hope that I'm recording actually.
Okay, can someone tell me why exactly did we forget about the door to Conria? Like, the door to Conria. I get it, it was quite some time ago, but I don't think we can just brush past it like it was nothing. So, it got me thinking, and at some point it led to Mona, and well, you'll see.
Ascertaining this is akin to reading the fortune of the whole world. I'm afraid that this is not something that just anyone can do. If I could do it, you would no longer call me an astrologist, but a visionary. A visionary.
So, I'm sure you've noticed before that the Conrian star on the Conria's door, if you can say that, is the same as Mona's star or the Hexenzirkel symbol from like million short videos making note of it. Like, seriously, I've seen hundreds of them. Anyway, so I thought, maybe there is a very clear and direct connection between the witches of Hexenzirkel and Conria. And well, yeah, there is. I can't even believe that it's just this direct. Okay, let's backtrack a bit. Hi, I'm Cinnamon, and today we're unraveling the enigmatic connection between seers, witches, and the shadowy realm of Conria. Also, a quick disclaimer. This is more of a comparison/mini theory, so there might be some loose plot points due to extremely limited information, especially regarding the Hexenzirkel yet. So, I hope in future updates, not one, we will finally meet the group more directly. With that out of the way, let's begin. To get the whole picture, you'll need to know why and how Odin, the god of mainly wisdom from Norse mythology, yeah, you know that guy, yeah, how he's tied to the King Irmin of Conria and possibly, maybe, probably the sinner? If you didn't watch it yet or have no idea what I'm babbling about, then go watch this video right here, yeah. Or if you are too lazy to do that, then the abridged version is a lot of parallels and symbolism from like the world tree, their name, eye patch, single eye, self-sacrificing, old runes, magic, etc, etc. Like I said, there is a lot of things. So, back in the Fontaine Archon quest, when we met Mona, we had a very normal dialogue regarding the Great Flood and mass destruction of a whole nation, as you do, you know, just girly things. But something didn't really sit right with me when I first heard it. When we asked Mona what did she think about the prophecy trademark, as she's a very powerful astrologist and stuff, the reply we got was, this prophecy concerns a whole nation, or possibly the world, which is akin to telling the future of every person affected at the same time. And to do that, you would have to be an incredibly powerful person, to the point that you will no longer be an astrologist, but a visionary. Of course, we asked her to elaborate if such a person exists, and she replied that yes, her master and some other witches from Hexenzirkel could do it. So, one mystery point added to the mysterious Hexenzirkel box of horrors and mysteries. From that interaction, we can understand that there appears to be a clear distinction between a visionary and a normal fortune teller/astrologist, as specifically stated by Mona. By definition, a visionary is either a person who sees visions of the future, or a person with original ideas about what the future will or could be like, a person with a lot of wisdom and originality. We will be rolling out with a definition regarding the powerful prophets and visions, you know, due to our context and stuff. Like, duh, of course. Okay, it's time to add some historic context into our discussion. Now, when we dig into Germanic paganism, we stumble upon something peculiar. There is also a clear distinction between a typical Salem-like witch that we all know and love, and a northern mythology one. In Germanic paganism/religion, those witches were actually called seers, powerful prophets intertwined with the goddess Freya, a group of very powerful women said to have the ability to foretell future events and perform sorcery. Like, yes mama, skinny hill, boots the house down, slay... hills, mountains even? I don't know. Maybe something like that. You know the quote. They're also referred to with many other names, like prophetess, staff-bearers, sorcerers, and wise women.
Mamas, what is going on?
So, by definition, again, a visionary is an immensely powerful prophet with a lot of wisdom and originality. And this definition fits perfectly to our friends from the Hexenzirkel. Powerful? Check. I don't think I need to explain this, but I will. Alice, who could and did shape mountains for fun. Rhinedottir, who created literal life and dragons, and her failed experiments are hounds that literally carve reality into shreds, and that's just two of them. Wise and imaginative? Check. The Witch Anne passed her wisdom to us in both Sumeru and Fontaine Archon quests regarding the true meaning of this world and the reality in ways that are not as direct, but enough to be understood in our hour of need. And speaking of witches, let's not forget Mona's master, Barbelos Trismegistus. These folks aren't your run-of-the-mill fortune tellers, they're visionaries, with insights so profound they could rewrite the stars themselves. Figuratively, maybe literally. And, well, Mona did basically say it herself in the quest that her master is a visionary. And so from now on, I will be using Visionary and Seers interchangeably when addressing the Hexenzirkel. Okay? Okay. Now, let's take a closer look into those history of those German visionaries, shall we? To start, they were associated with the goddess Freya, the consort of Odin himself, so those Odin to Irmin ties were not just for a plug. Okay, so, moment. This next part, I'm not gonna pronounce the words very well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. To my credit, I've googled this word like a million times. I tried Wikipedia, I've tried actual AI stuff to tell me how to pronounce it. It's impossible for me, I'm sorry. I don't speak German, this is German words, like old German words, so bear with me, please. Okay, So, the early Goths had called their seeresses Haljurune. I don't know, pick and choose whichever you like the most, that's for you. I will stick with Haljurune. That's the easiest for me to pronounce and it looks like it, I'm sorry. Anyway, the word also appears in Old English, Hellerun, seeress or witch, and in Old High German. Again, I'm sorry. Oh boy. Hellerune. I hope I said that right. Anyway, as Hellerune, necromancy, and Hellerunari, necromancer. Oh god. It's definitely necromancy at this point, because, yeah. And from these forms, an earlier Proto-Germanic form comes from, Aljarun, in which the first element is Alia, also known as Hel, the abode of the dead. And the second is Rune. Of course, it's mystery, secret, and rune, yeah. Hel, the abode of the dead, mystery, it kinda describes the abyss or fallen Conria. A stretch? Yeah, maybe, but hey, I'ma take any symbolism I can find. On the topic of stretching, no you silly animal, not that kind. Let's be serious right now, this is a very serious and important video about a video game, a Genshin Impact, my 2D pixels, my witches, let's be professional right now, okay? Okay. There are also some literature that features the name Heider, plenty of times as a word for a witch. It appears twice in the Poetic Edda, and in Valushpa, where it is a name assumed by Gulveig in connection with the War of the Gods. The name has been connected to the word heathen, and what's even more interesting, it's a compound name, meaning that it consists of several different parts of a name that mean several different things. I'm sure you know what compound means, I don't even know why I'm explaining that. Anyway, so, compound name, yeah. It is a compound name formed with the Old Norse word for gold, gul. Yet, The second element found in the other personal names, like Rannveig, Solveig or Thorveig, could have meant power, strength, intoxicating drink, or possibly lady or even gold thread. And let's know that Gullveig is sometimes held to be a personification of gold itself, purified through repeated smelting. Let's note that under the foreshadowing, maybe? So, a particular witch that was a catalyst to a certain war of the gods, and is a heathen, a person who does not believe in any god, does not worship any god, maybe even a sinner, that is connected with gold, drinks, maybe even kinda alchemy, and who's immensely powerful. I mean, like, come on guys, it's Rhinedottir, of course it's Rhinedottir, it's always Rhinedottir. Oh, also, in that legend, she was kinda speared 3 times over fire and then reborn. Yeah, remember that smelting part? Yeah, that's about this. Yeah, so if we get a backstory for Rhinedottir that somehow mirrors this, yeah, I called it. Yeah. Anyways, getting back on track. Another interesting thing that I found is that Odin himself sought wisdom and consulted with such visionaries, but let's talk specifics. One of the series particularly took my attention by like a whole ton of correlations. I just couldn't ignore it. So, her name was Gana, and she was mentioned by the Roman historiographer Cassius Dio. The context is the campaign east of the river Rhine, which, as we know, closely tied with the Rhinedottir and Conria by another Edda, the Ring of the Nibelung. So, Gana belonged to a tribe called the Semnones, and basically was on some political mission with Emperor or something. It's not that important. What is important is that Roman historian Tacitus reports that he discussed the Semnoni religious practices with informants from that tribe, and the Semnonis' ancestral relationships with the other tribes from Ing or Ingwi, East, and Irmin or Odin, so another coin in the symbolism/correlation slot. Okay, here's where it gets juicy. The Semnoni reenacted the horrific origins of their nation with a human sacrifice, with each victim representing the Twisto, or the twin, and being cut up to repeat the acts of creation. If you finish the Fontaine Archon quest, you should be as wide-eyed as me right now, because like, yeah, also spoilers right now, click off, like, yada yada, I'm sure everybody did the Archon quest already, okay, so yeah. In the quest, we get to meet Skirk, Child's Master, and learn that the Gnozai are created from the remains of the third Descender. Now, I don't propose that the third Descender was our twin and was cut up for recreational purposes and acts of creation, but yeah, I kinda do. However, there is another candidate that fills in that role even better. So, the Semnoni performed their rites at the Holy Grove that was the cradle of the tribe's inception, and that could only be entered when they were fettered, or like, if you don't know what that means, it means in chains, okay? No need to be like this pretend stuff that I know everything, no, it means in chains. Just saying chains, okay? Anyway, the god who was worshipped was most probably Odin, and being fettered may have been an imitation of Odin's self-sacrifice to gain more knowledge and power. Also, that means that Odin was kinda in the BDSM. The only other person who is theorized to be a descender was worshipped by previous people of Conria, Hilichurls and Abyss creatures, and was in chains is the Sinner. Yeah, it all comes back to the... oh my god! So, at this point, I'm almost convinced that this is either Irmin or what remains of the third Descender. Okay, let's make this a little bit more cohesive now. We have established that the Hexenzirkel did help, or at least worked with Conria to some extent, and that King Irmin probably asked for their guidance, or at least held them in high regard, but what exactly did they do? Well, since the series has held political stance and influence in real life, I would propose that the Hexenzirkel somehow mirrors this too. Granted, not to the same exact extent maybe, but their main role probably was two things: to to provide guidance for the King of Khaenri'ah regarding the fate of the world, how to rule, obtain knowledge, maybe even forbidden knowledge, kinda like court system. Or the second thing, I think they were kind of independent ambassadors to the world outside at large. As we discussed before, the political role that the Seeress played was crucial, on the same level as emperors. Maybe not to that extent, but like something around this. And it was always present when the Romans were dealing with the Germanic tribes, and the Romans had to take their opinion into account. Okay, I will need you to bear with me for a second. If the Germanic tribes are closer to the Khaenri'ah due to their mythological connection to Odin through King Irmin, I would be so bold to assume that the Romans in this context are the nations ruled by the Archons, the Christianized-ish part, as they had a unified religion that came after the more paganistic Khaenri'ah style. As a bonus, maybe the Hexenzirkel was founded in Khaenri'ah, with its first members being natives, one of which is Rhinedottir? Maybe, back to the Genshin's Romans though. Yes, every nation in Teyvat is still ruled by independent archons, but they are all appointed by a singular godlike being, the Primordial One and the Celestia. It is quite a bit more streamlined and unified religion than whatever the hell Khaenri'ahs had, if they even had any religious systems. I do know that it is stated in the game that they were a godless nation, but remember, pagans did not only believe in gods. A lot of paganistic cultures chose to revere nature as a whole, or maybe like some parts of nature, natural phenomena like rain, thunder, sun, you know, the whole shebang. Also, this term was used to describe people who had ethnic religions other than Judaism, so maybe a parallel to that in Khaenri'ah. Maybe like the sinner. Ironically though, this term was used mainly against Romans, so it's kinda 50-50, you get it? Because Genshin and 50, yeah, okay. Wait, so maybe they were more like representatives of Khaenri'ah for Celestia as a whole. Maybe it's exactly their contribution into the cursing the Khaenri'ahs into the immortal beings that we know now as Abysslings and Hilichurls, instead of wiping them all out. I always had this strange feeling, if the Celestia wanted to punish the sinners of Khaenri'ah, they made a very strange choice of granting the immortality. Why not instead just, nuke the place with a celestial nail and get rid of them? Maybe that's exactly why they were kinda spared, I guess. That's the Hexenzirkel's doing. They negotiated. But that's just rambling at this point. As of right now, I choose to believe that the witches will be the ones to guide us to the Khaenri'ah in the first place. Maybe even directly opening the door in the Sumeru Cavern or any other place actually, with their weird self-sacrificing rituals. Hell, maybe even a real sacrifice is in place for the sake of opening a door. You never know when a door might be sealed by some celestial magic as a way to keep the humans out. Or in. And maybe, just maybe, once again being on duty of representing Khaenri'ah's point of view, but to us instead of Celestia this time. Hear me out. At this point, I am sure that the travelers are tied to the Primordial One or Celestia in some way. Hell, maybe we are the Primordial One at this point. Perhaps even they will be the ones to guide us to the path of redeeming the sinners of Khaenri'ah, relieving them from their curse through us as a final act of help. But that's all in the future, waiting to be revealed. I could be just completely wrong in my delusions, or I might be right on the money. As always, it's just another 50-50. And that will be all for today. Mwah! Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you like this more historic kind of analogy video with some theory sprinkled in it. Also, I'm so sorry that I simply vanished for a year, but you can't really just stop life from continuing, so I really do hope that I will be able to keep making more stuff in the future. Maybe not necessarily theory videos, as Hoyoverse decided to hide their lore in very obscure books, and I really don't have time to read each and every one of them. But hey, maybe some character speculations or analysis videos. What do you think of that? If you would like it, you can comment that, or maybe your own ideas. Anyway, so I really do want to expand that point regarding Rhinedottir that we had like earlier in this video. Who knows, maybe I'll do that. Anyways, again, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, like for real. I'm not just trying to be nice. I do appreciate every single one of you. I mostly do this just for fun and to unwind and build a community, yeah, so I hope you will be able to stay, maybe, yeah. If you want to join this community, make sure to leave a comment and subscribe. So, yeah, bye-bye. Granted, not the same exact... Well, granted, not the same. Granted, not the same. What the f***? And that could be only be... Wow, that's a lot of bees. I love bees.
I hope that I'm recording actually.